that part of the program. Just round of applause. These beautiful, dedicated, committed people behind me in the bleachers are all partners of Mission Serve. Please give them a round of applause. So I didn't know the First Lady was so tall and beautiful. You read about it, right? Very personable backstage. I like to, people hate that I do this. I tell the secrets backstage, but everyone you saw speak today meeting them for the first time was like meeting someone you've known for years, and I just think it's that kind of spirit that we all have to carry today and beyond today to help honoring and recognizing and acknowledging what our veterans have done for this country. We do a lot of it with MTV. My grandfather, this isn't a part of the show, by the way, okay? But my grandfather served in World War II, and thank you. Rest his soul. And my uncles, I have two uncles that served in the Vietnam War, and I have a younger cousin who's in the Navy right now. Now, I chose the route of entertainment. So I didn't choose to go into the military, but one of the ways I wanted to be able to give back is by working on MTV, utilizing their brand, being the largest youth network in the world now, and making sure we commit ourselves to doing the type of programming that could bring attention to some of the issues that a lot of these young veterans face when they come home, whether it's transitional housing, TBI, post-traumatic stress disorder, or just even being accepted back and just trying to find a way to exist and live. It's a hard process. We've had opportunities to talk to people firsthand, and we've done our surveys, and it's something that issues that we need to deal with now, and we'll be faced to deal with in the near future. So all of you give yourselves a round of applause for even coming out tonight. Now, what university is this? Huh? Man, where'd that come from? Where did everybody go? To class? Oh, okay, great. So, I don't know, maybe the people in the back up top, maybe you could come closer, because we have some amazing speakers that are going to come on the stage, and we have other parts of this program that are going to be extremely interesting. I don't know if that's allowed, but why don't you try it? And until someone tells you no, come closer so you can feel what we're doing up here. All right, so I'm going to go see what's going on with the time. I just wanted to talk to you guys. We just came in. I flew in from New York this morning. Didn't want to miss it. I'll be back in New York tonight and thinking about it. So, DC, thank you for welcoming us here today. And I'll be right back.
Good afternoon. A little daunting following the First Lady and Jill Biden, but we're going to give it a shot. Thank you for all still being here with us. We're very excited to continue with today's program and honor veterans and their families. Thank you, Sway, and it's been great to have you here. It's been a privilege to be here with the First Lady, Dr. Biden, Alma Powell, the ServiceNation Coalition, and most importantly, representatives of the military and their families. Whatever badge of honor or courage you wear, we are all connected by service. Service to our neighbors, service to our communities, and service to our country. It's ingrained in the very best of the American spirit and part of the legacy at Target as well. Good afternoon. I'm Laisha Ward, President of Community Relations for Target and the Target Foundation. Since 1946, Target has given 5% of our income and millions of volunteer hours to the communities we serve. Today, that equals over $3 million every week. Thank you. We have a strong tradition of supporting veterans and the military through organizations like Operation Gratitude, the VFW, Our Military Kids, the American Legion, and United Through Reading. We're a great organization. We're also proud to have more than 1,000 members currently deployed on military duty, as well as many veterans and military reservists among our more than 350,000 team members nationwide. Target is honored to provide substantial benefits for our activated reservists, including a pay differential that surpasses the benefit required by law. To further support our military team members and their families, we created the Military Service Network, which offers support groups, service opportunities, and educational resources. Today, I'm deeply honored to have Bill Leader here as part of the Target Military Service Network and an active member of the U.S. Army National Guard. Bill has been with Target for 13 years and in the military for 24 years. He served in Bosnia and most recently in Iraq. He also serves in his community back in Minnesota, volunteering to help military families, the American Legion, and the homeless. We are proud of Bill and our military team members and veterans all across America. They're incredibly generous with their time, as are their families. We honor him today, but we also honor the other Target veterans here today as well. And they include Carl Campbell, Bill Dawson, Dwayne Iverson, Sean Donnelly, Sean Rourke, and Craig Dickover. Thank you very much for your service. I bet you didn't know some of those folks helping you in your local Target store were also veterans, but they are. Earlier today, many of you participated in a service project sponsored by ServiceNation, Blue Star Families, PBS, and Target. It was a way of saying thank you. Thank you to the military families and a way to show them that America cares. To continue this connection, Target and Volunteer Match are partnering to link military veterans, active service members, and their families with volunteer opportunities all across the country. This partnership is a direct response to a new study conducted by John Bridgeland and his incredible team at Civic Enterprises. The study examines the realities that face veterans every day when returning from Afghanistan and Iraq. It shows how we, as a compassionate nation, can leverage the skills, strengths, and time of our veterans, involve them in improving our neighborhoods and communities, and show them that America is grateful for their service, both abroad and at home. Here to tell us more is Mary McNaught Yonkman, Chief of Staff for Civic Enterprises and a newly minted Navy wife as of last Saturday. Yeah. This is Mary's idea of a honeymoon, I think. But at any rate, I'm pleased to welcome and, quite frankly, congratulate Mary, and she's here to share more about the study.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Laisha, for those truly kind words. It's an honor to be with distinguished veterans, military families, and guests here today. I'm here today as we release All Volunteer Force from military to civilian service, the first ever nationally representative survey and report on the civic lives of veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan. As we welcome home our newest generation of veterans, we rightfully focus on their rocky transitions. We know they face very real issues: unemployment, post-traumatic stress disorder, homelessness, and family instability. Our survey shows that only 13% of these veterans strongly agree that their transitions are going well, and just 9% strongly believe the needs of their families are being met. War is a traumatic experience, and many of these men and women have served multiple deployments over the past 8 years. The challenges they face are complex, and they deserve our nation's attention. What these veterans told us in very clear terms is that in rightfully focusing on the transition home, what we all too often neglect to highlight is that service remains in the DNA of our veterans. The training our military gives them and their responsibilities abroad mean they bring real skills back home. Almost 90% of veterans believe that Americans can learn something from their example of service, yet only half consider themselves leaders in their communities. This means that veterans are aware of the skills they have and the ethic of service that sets them apart, but when they take their daughter to school, they walk into City Hall, or they go to their place of worship, they are half as likely to think their fellow Americans understand the value of their service. Most veterans have never been contacted by a community institution, local nonprofit, or place of worship when they return home. Yet 9 in 10 agree that serving their community is important to them and equally believe that service is a basic responsibility of every American. These returning veterans want to serve again. They want to be on the front lines of the efforts their communities are making to intervene in the lives of at-risk youth, to respond to natural disasters, to ensure our public lands are preserved, and to help those in need find their next meal. We know from the latest neuroscience that compassion, charity, and service literally make people healthier and happier. Our survey found that veterans who volunteer in communities have better transitions home, as do their families. So, by doing a better job engaging them in service at home, we will be giving them a new mission, a sense of purpose that will strengthen this generation of veterans and our nation. So on this Veterans Day, let's give a gift of gratitude to our nation's veterans. Yes, we must continue to greet them at airports and tie yellow ribbons in their honor. But as one veteran told us, recognize our usefulness. We are not charity cases, we are an American asset. Today, the partnerships announced are responding to a clear call from our newest generation of veterans. As is exhibited here today, community serving and faith-based institutions can tap the skills of veterans for volunteer service. College campuses like GW can help educate them on how to take full advantage of the GI Bill and deploy them into high-need communities through federal work-study. States can follow the inspiring examples of Minnesota and Washington as these veterans move from warriors to citizens. Mayors can incorporate veterans into their cities of service initiatives across the country. Our nation can marry the positions created in the Serve America Act's Veteran Service Corps, signed into law by President Obama, with the specific interests of returning veterans. More can be done to engage wounded warriors in service and enlist all veterans in solving our toughest challenges in socially innovative ways. But most importantly, we recommend a change in the culture of how our veterans are viewed. The public often believes that the veteran has given enough or is somehow damaged and should be left alone. But these extraordinary men and women who embody service to country need outlets on the home front and will inspire our next generation of leaders. We encourage congressional hearings, national and state summits, and public visibility of all kinds to educate millions of Americans on how they can help ensure our veterans feel connected to community and are recognized for the civic assets that they truly are. This report would not have been possible without some very special people and institutions. First, our thanks to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff for writing our forward and to his able staff, to the White House, especially Dr. Biden and Mrs. Obama for its extraordinary leadership on these issues, to leaders in the Congress who continue to make this issue a priority, to Laisha Ward and her incredible team at Target, and Jean Case and her team at the Case Foundation for their support of this project and all they do for our nation's veterans, and to the ServiceNation Coalition and Mission Serve for this extraordinary event and for continually raising the dialogue around service in America. Finally, we dedicate this report to our nation's veterans, many of whom are here today, in uniform and out, who give so much to our country. On this Veterans Day, let's share our gratitude by tapping their talents to serve their country once again. Thank you.
Wow, no pressure, right? Well, listen, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd just like to thank you guys for this opportunity. I understand that they already left, but to Miss Obama, to Dr. Biden, Miss Powell, and Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, President Karen Mathis, and all who are here today, I'm honored and I'm grateful. About 7 years ago, when I signed up for Big Brothers Big Sisters, I expected the unexpected, but never this. But my son, Michael, now 13, was in first grade. During the time I've been Raul's big brother, my wife Candace and I have had a second son, Matthew, now age 6. I did this because Dyess Air Force Base encourages military personnel to serve the Abilene community, which is like many small rural farming areas. While there is some wealth, there's a lot of poverty and a lot of time for kids to get in trouble. In fact, the day I met Raul, he was in a little bit of trouble himself. He was in the second grade then, and he was sitting in lunch detention, so for acting up in class. Raul's had a lot of ups and downs. He's seen friends go in and out of juvenile detention. His dad's been in and out of work. I've been deployed everywhere around the world, from Kuwait to Djibouti, Africa, Diego Garcia to Qatar. Each time I stayed in touch with Raul through email and technology, I wanted him to know that our friendship would be one of the consistent things in his life. Why do I do it? I took Raul fishing for the first time. For this trip to Washington, D.C., it was his first plane ride. He actually shaved for the first time, and I was a part of that. The absence of the chin hair, that was me. Well, I grew up without my dad in the home. If I'd had a big brother, he could have taught me those things. My dad left when I was just 8 years old. Serving the United States Air Force is the ultimate opportunity to give my country what it's given to me and to all of us: freedom beyond measure. Being Raul's big brother shows me that I can make a difference for my country as well as for my community. Thank you.
I remember that fishing trip. What Cisco didn't tell you is that I'm the one who caught the big one. Well, it was just a bluegill, but Cisco was still a little jealous. But seriously, Cisco has taught me a lot. When I first met him, I was embarrassed that I was in detention. He was in uniform, just like he is today. All my friends thought he was cool. So did I. I wanted him to see me at my best. I wanted to be just like Cisco. Being at my best is not always easy. Cisco mentioned that some of my friends have been in and out of juvenile detention. What he didn't tell you is that my older brother has been in and out of jail. In fact, today I realized that's why my mom signed me up to have a big brother. I'm not perfect, but every day I try. When I talk to Cisco or see him, I want to give him a good report. The good news is I'm a better student. I don't get in trouble as much as I used to. I make better decisions. I'm starting to see that I'm a good at a lot of things like World War II, history, and woodshop. You should see the birdhouse I made. It's really cool. In 2 years, I'll be a high school graduate. I know Cisco will be at my graduation, and so will Suzanne, our match support specialist at Big Brothers Big Sisters of North Texas. I'm doing everything I can to make sure I have a lot of opportunities, like the Air Force, college, Big Brothers and Big Sisters. I know how important service is. There are a lot of kids out there who need someone to look up to. Thank you.
Afternoon, I'm Jeff Cathy, Bank of America Military Affairs, Navy veteran, and what a distinct honor and pleasure it is to be out here today in celebration of our military men and women. It's extraordinarily heartwarming to see the First Lady and Dr. Biden and Mrs. Powell and members of Congress and Sergeant Mahoney and all the veterans out here with us today. In recognition of their sacrifice and dedication of all the military professionals and their extraordinary families, Bank of America is expanding its partnership with ServiceNation and helping to launch the Civilian Military Initiative to help this nation and its veterans. One of the guiding tenets of my life and naval aviation career is found in Teddy Roosevelt's words: far and away the greatest prize that life has to offer is a chance to work hard at work worth doing. And at the Bank of America, I'm very proud, very fortunate to continue with meaningful work in serving military members worldwide. The bank has an outstanding relationship with military veterans and their families, and it works nicely with our commitment to service and volunteerism, and we enjoy and look forward to this collaboration with Mission Serve. This is not something new for us, but really an affirmation of our core beliefs in leadership and service. We know it's the right thing to do, and the success that we enjoy is directly linked to the success and the health of the communities that we serve. By investing in programs such as affordable housing, medical care, and creating pathways to financial independence, we serve those who serve and let them focus on their difficult missions. We work hard at helping the military veteran. We bank all military members of all services, and we are proud employers of that special segment in society. And today, in this country with the challenges ahead that are deep and wide, we see this opportunity as a chance to reinvigorate this remarkable country in selfless service in its many forms. The leaders that are here behind us in this audience and across these great United States command our respect. They embody our ideals, and they illuminate our path forward into service and civic engagement. Today and henceforth, we honor their dedication, and we look forward to expanding our relationship, our partnership, as we embark on Mission Serve. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Nikki Gorin, and I have the privilege of serving as the acting CEO of the Corporation for National and Community Service. We are a federal agency, and we engage more than 4 million Americans in service each year through Senior Corps, AmeriCorps, and Learn and Serve America, and are leading the charge on the President's United We Serve initiative. It's truly my honor to be here today. I'd like to start by commending and congratulating ServiceNation and Civic Enterprises for hosting this event and for preparing this report, which will be critical as we continue our work together to support our nation's veterans through service. For many years, the Corporation for National and Community Service has made it a priority to both meet the needs of veterans and their families, as well as engage veterans in service to others. To date, nearly 13,000 veterans have served in AmeriCorps. Right now, currently, we have 8,000 Senior Corps members serving in VA hospitals. We've launched a partnership with the American Legion Auxiliary to put vistas in local chapters to recruit volunteers with a focus on alleviating poverty among veterans and their families. We've partnered with the Department of Veterans Affairs Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment Program to educate military service veterans about civilian service career opportunities. And most recently, with our support, the Washington State Commission for National and Community Service launched 2 pilot projects, the Veterans Corps and Veterans Navigation. The first is a 1-year pilot program to meet the needs of military families and support victims of traumatic brain injuries. The second uses AmeriCorps members to help new veterans navigate the higher education system and take full advantage of the benefits they are entitled to under the GI Bill. And through President Obama's United We Serve initiative, we have partnered with 47 groups to help promote volunteer opportunities with veterans, for veterans, and by veterans, including the American Legion, the Veterans of Foreign Wars, Disabled American Veterans, and others. And service opportunities for and in support of veterans are a key priority of the historic Edward M. Kennedy Serve America Act, which you've heard discussed earlier today. And we are now busy building bridges to veteran service organizations across the country to fulfill the vision of that new law. In fact, next week we're hosting a conference call, which will be led by Senator Warner from Virginia, for organizations to learn about the funding opportunities in AmeriCorps to support and engage veterans and their families. We all know that connecting veterans with service opportunities is a classic win-win. Research has found that volunteering helps veterans transition back to civilian life, and of course we know that the veterans coming back have so much to offer our country in terms of skills, experience, and enthusiasm. we have many, many examples. One 33-year-old Special Forces veteran who now serves in Senior Corps told us that delivering meals to the homebound has provided him with the opportunity to serve his country longer. We believe it's our solemn duty to do everything we can to support veterans like him, those who have worn our country's uniform and sacrificed for our freedom and come home with a desire to continue serving. This report that's being released will go a long way towards helping us to do so. So again, I want to thank ServiceNation and Civic Enterprises and Civic Ventures, and thank you all for having me here today.
As a veteran, I cannot tell you how moving it is to be a part of a Veterans Day celebration that is not just about the past, but about the future. My name is Ken Harbaugh. I'm a former Navy pilot and executive director of the Mission Continues. At the Mission Continues, we challenge our returning wounded to continue their lives of service here at home, even if their time in uniform has been cut short. We tell them, thank you for the heroic sacrifices you have already made, but you're not done yet. Because there are two kinds of heroism. There's the kind we hear about most often, the kind that compels a soldier to carry a fallen comrade to safety. That kind of heroism can keep a nation safe, but it cannot make us great. America's greatness depends on the quiet, persistent heroism of those who return from war, especially those who return with injuries, seen and unseen, and choose to continue carrying their brothers and sisters. In a moment, you'll meet one of our Mission Continues fellows who returned from war scarred, but chose to accept the challenge of serving others. Men like Mike Pereira are American treasures. But for everyone like him, there are 10 others that have not yet found their opportunity to serve again. We can change that, because we, those of us here in this room, know that celebrating veterans isn't just about honoring what they have done already, but recognizing everything they have left to give. Mike?
Thank you, Ken. Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Mike Pereira, as Ken said, and I served in the U.S. Army. I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you for having me. Thank you. As a soldier, I faced many challenges. I faced the challenge of leaving home for the first time, of training, and the challenges associated with a deployment. But the hardest challenge was coming back home. Within 3 months of returning home from the desert, I had lost my job, my fiance, and a close friend and fellow veteran had taken his own life. At my lowest, I remembered some very kind words from an officer that I served with in Iraq. That officer was Eric Greitens. He's now the CEO and co-founder of the Mission Continues. I reconnected with Eric, and he introduced me to the concepts of the Mission Continues. He challenged me to become a Mission Continues fellow. Through the fellowship, I was able to again lead, to organize, and to find others like myself in my community. Today, I serve as the National Director for the Fellowship Program at the Mission Continues. Thank you. Four days ago, during our annual Veterans Day celebration in St. Louis, I stood before a dozen fellow veterans from all over the United States who had completed their fellowships and who are now serving as citizen leaders in their communities. I am here to represent those veterans. I am here to represent the soldiers coming home. Many of us cannot continue our service in the military, but we have a strong desire and a passion to serve here at home in our local communities. Together, through your efforts and ours, we can build a stronger nation. I would like to thank Mission Serve for supporting organizations such as the Mission Continues that challenges wounded and disabled veterans to continue their service here at home in the local communities. Let us look at veterans not just as yesterday's heroes, but as tomorrow's leaders. Thank you.
Okay, give them a round of applause, please. Thank you to both Mike and Kim for your service. It's my pleasure to introduce to you a new friend and partner at work here with MTV, Maya Anista, CEO of Mobilize.org, and one of MTV's best-in-class partners. She will join us in sharing some exciting mission-served partnerships, including the one that we launched with Mobilize.org today. Maya.
Thank you, Sway, and thank you to ServiceNation for this tremendous event and for their commitment not only to my generation of veterans, but to all of the men and women who serve our country. It is my pleasure and tremendous honor to announce 6 innovative mission-served partnerships, beginning with my own. Mobilize.org, the Goldhirsch Foundation, and MTV, with the generous support of the McCormick Foundation, are partnering to host a town hall exploring the unique issues facing our returning millennial veterans and providing seed funding to innovative veteran-led projects that address their needs. This event will be held in the spring of next year in connection with the 7th anniversary of the Iraq War. We will build both online and offline programming around this convening and reach out to millennial veterans on our campuses and in our communities. Also, America Forward and Be the Change are joining forces to create a landscape analysis of where service opportunities and veterans programs intersect. And because Rob and Ross are not busy enough, Be the Change will also be working with SurvivorCorps to ensure a robust civilian service component of the national strategy for healthy homecoming.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, since 2006, the St. Bernard Project has been building energy-efficient homes in areas devastated by Hurricane Katrina. Now, we're pleased to announce their new partnership focusing on recruiting veterans to work as full-time employees on its build sites. JROTC and City Year are partnering in Boston through City Year's City Heroes program that engages high schoolers in at least 100 hours of voluntary community service, centered around City Heroes service days throughout the year. Now, with this partnership, City Year is recruiting directly from the population of JROTC cadets and reserves a certain number of City Heroes slots for the cadets, which is good news.
Finally, Student Veterans of America and the Wounded Warrior Project are working together around the country to help wounded and injured veterans achieve a college education. Our deepest thank you to the 10 organizations that we mentioned here, the hundreds represented in the room, and the thousands working around the country for our veterans. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Let me start by saying thank you to Given Hour and to ServiceNation for giving me the opportunity to present today. It is truly an honor. It is also truly a necessity in the wake of last week's tragedy at Fort Hood. I know all of our hearts go out to the victims of the shootings and their families and the whole Fort Hood community. I am glad there are organizations like Given Hour to assist in Texas and across the country. Given Hour is a nonprofit organization providing free counseling and other mental health care services to members of the military, veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan, and their loved ones. Without Given Hour, I would not be here today. My name is Jennifer Crane. I am a combat veteran of the United States Army. At only 26 years old, most people don't look at me and see a war veteran. By standing here today, I am proof that war veterans come in all shapes, sizes, ages, races, and sexes. At the tender age of 17, I joined the military seeking guidance and stability in an unstable world. It was the first adult decision I ever made in my life. It would be an understatement to say that I got more than I asked for. My first day of basic training was September 11th, 2001. I was sitting with a platoon of strangers when the towers fell that day, and a drill sergeant said we were all going to war, and he was right. Within a year of graduating from training, I was being deployed. I was sent into Afghanistan as a part of Operation Enduring Freedom, 4th Rotation under the 18th Airborne Corps. At just 20 years old, I got my combat patch and the right to call myself a veteran. Now, I watch from the sidelines as my 23-year-old brother is experiencing the repercussions from his deployment to Iraq. It's been over 6 years since I came home from overseas, but the experiences still live inside of me like it was yesterday. I suffer from chronic post-traumatic stress disorder. It took almost 3 years of agony before I began to find help. A large percentage of our homeless population is made up of veterans with mental health issues, and I was one of them. There are hundreds of thousands of people out there just like me suffering and feeling like society has forgotten about them. It was not until I found Give an Hour that I truly began to find hope again. The birth of my daughter in May 2008 left me in pieces, and my PTSD was stronger than ever. But through Give an Hour, I was able to see an amazing counselor, Janina Versa, who was willing to donate her time to help me, no questions asked. Without Janine, I don't know if I would be standing here today. With her guidance and compassion, I am now on a path greater than I could have ever imagined. I no longer feel broken, but instead I feel whole. I am not trying to fool myself because, yes, every day is a struggle for me. But the generosity of the individuals involved with Give an Hour has given me the faith in society that I so desperately needed. Sometimes just knowing that someone out there cares is all it takes, and that is why I'm here today. I am hoping that my story may inspire someone to reach out and become their own ambassador for change. If you're a healthcare provider, donate your time. We need you. If you're a veteran, service member, or family of military personnel, seek help, and you'll find it through this amazing organization. I am proud to report that as a part of this ServiceNation initiative, Give an Hour is finding yet another way to link civilian and military communities in our country to ensure that the critical mental health needs of troops, veterans, and military families are met. As one great example, Give an Hour will be able to partner with the American Red Cross so that Give an Hour mental health professionals can receive additional training and resources on military culture, while Red Cross can both refer people needing services and mental health volunteers will provide them to Give an Hour. Give an Hour asks that people who receive services through them give back to their own communities. Give an Hour has offered me the opportunity to share my story and speak at forums such as this on behalf of them and veterans everywhere as my way of giving back. If my story can touch just one heart and help just one fellow soldier, my mission will be complete. My life will never be quote-unquote perfect, but with the help Give an Hour has provided me, I can begin to truly live life again. I'm now married and a fully capable mother of a beautiful 18-month-old daughter, Haley Marie, who's here today. I will never be cured, and I know that, but I can manage my condition, and today I am able to have hope for a better tomorrow. Before closing, I'd like to ask Dr. Barbara Van Dalen to please stand up, the founder and president of Give an Hour, to be recognized. We're also very proud to announce the partnerships that have been formed through ServiceNation's Mission Serve, and I'd like to ask representatives from our partners to please stand up and be recognized. Big brothers and big sisters. The American Red Cross. Student Veterans of America. AARP, Create the Good. Operation Homefront. And Postpartum Support International. Give an Hour is incredibly excited to be working with everyone here. Thank you very much.
2 months ago today, on 9/11, I sent my husband off to Afghanistan for a year. This is his 4th combat deployment in my daughter Sophie's 11 years. In that time, she's attended 7 different schools since her daddy's first deployment. Hers is the life of a military child. She and I are a different kind of veteran for today's wars. We're unspeakably proud of my husband, but there's no hiding that sometimes it's hard. My group, Blue Star Families, and all the groups here are about finding solutions to some of the hard parts of military service. In Blue Star Families, we believe, as ServiceNation does, that solutions, in a large part, come from our own action and from the help of the larger community. Many of you here today have helped us with that, packing our thanks boxes in appreciation to military families around the country. The boxes we packed today have gone to National Guard families in Kansas, to the families of individual augmentees in Virginia, and to North Carolina regulars. The Operation Appreciation letters you've all been writing will go to military families around the country, and including the Shaken community at Fort Hood. The leadership shown by ServiceNation has been wonderful. Because of them, many of the groups here have been working together to make more and more of these solutions possible. Here's just a smattering of the partnerships engendered by the leadership of Be the Change. Blue Star Families is partnering with PBS to create family reintegration kits for military families. We packed some of those in those thanks boxes today. We're also connecting Greater DC Cares to the National Guard community in the National Capital Region. Student Veterans of America are joining with Big Brothers and Big Sisters to mentor youth. The American Legion Auxiliary is joining with Operation Homefront for their Adopt a Military Family for the Holidays program. The Sierra Club is joining with National Military Families Association's Operation Purple summer camps to provide a week of fun for military kids who have a parent who has, is, or will be deploying. And they're joining with the Armed Services YMCA to provide a week of camping family reintegration post-deployment. The Military Child Education Coalition and America's Promise Alliance are working together to make sure that military-connected schools and their kids are included in Gallup's current poll of 5th to 12th graders in terms of how their wellness is going. It's terribly fitting that we celebrate those partnerships today on Veterans Day, a day that recognizes Americans, veterans who serve so ceaselessly. I'd like to thank you all for being here today, for caring, and for serving. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jason Lawrence. I graduated from the U.S. Air Force Academy in Euro-NATO Joint Jet pilot training. Following that, I went to serve flying A-10 attack jets with the 25th Fighter Squadron, 51st Fighter Wing in South Korea. Pilsung. I left the Air Force to pursue other forms of service. Recently joined the Veterans Green Corps initiative between Veterans Green Jobs and the Southwest Conservation Corps that empowers veterans to positively impact their lives, their communities, and the environment. Over the summer, I led a team of 8 eco-warriors as we spent 40 days camping, most of them deep in the backcountry in the Colorado Rockies. Funded by the U.S. Forest Service, we hiked over 150 miles, hand-cut over 400 logs, built steps, drainage features, swatted mosquitoes, kicked rocks, all while carrying 60 pounds and as high as 11,000 feet. While transforming mangled, overgrown trails into smooth paths, we went through our own changes as we traveled from military to civilian service. One former Marine sniper on my crew had 6-figure job offers to return to the oil fields. He declined to stay with us. He commented that his post-traumatic stress seemed to fade as if the backcountry had magical powers, in his words. He will start college at Colorado State University in January to study forestry. We were all drawn to the Veterans Green Corps for different reasons: camaraderie, structure, and most importantly, the opportunity to join a new mission of service for our common bonds. Our country faces unparalleled environmental and energy challenges that threaten our security and sustainability. At the same time, 1.8 million veterans are returning home as a highly trained and disciplined workforce in need of meaningful work that embodies the ethic of service that brought many of them into the military. Let's engage these veterans on a new mission of building energy and environmental security at home. And I'm confident through this new mission of service, many veterans will find the place for their experience, their leadership, their sense of honor, and their commitment to America, just as I have with the Veterans Green Corps. Thank you.
Thank you to Jason for his service to you all. It's a privilege to be in the room today honoring your work. As director of the Ohio Civilian Conservation Corps, just a few years back, I had the privilege of working to bring together a partnership, a civilian-military partnership, that was the Ohio CCC, the Ohio Emergency Management Agency, and the Ohio National Guard, and it was both the Army and the Air Guard. In that partnership, we had the opportunity for members of the CCC to be deployed when state disasters were announced by the governor, and that was frequent in Ohio with flooding and ice storms. Our Corps members were housed with the Guard, fed with the Guard. The most amazing thing happened in that the Guardsmen were mentors, role models, and amazing friends to our Corps members. Our Corps members were primarily out of work, out of school young people who were getting their lives back in order and engaging in the work. What we saw throughout the year when disasters were not in place, that the Guardsmen and our Corps members remained in touch. We received leadership training and wonderful mentorship year-round from the Guard. So it was with great respect that partnership developed. As president and CEO of the Corps Network, let me come back just a minute because I'm missing one point of that. In late 2008, I received an email message from a young man whose name is Scott Kilbarger. Scott was writing from his duty station in Iraq, and he wrote to say that his experience there had reminded him that he needed to re-engage and help people in Ohio reestablish the Civilian Conservation Corps. It had been abolished when state budget deficits occurred, and he wanted to know how he from Iraq could help reestablish it because of the amazing impact it had on his life. He joined the Guard while a member of the CCC, married a fellow Corps woman, and actually has a lovely family, is a support of his community, and a wonderful representative of this country in his work in Iraq. As president and CEO of the Corps Network, I have the privilege of serving as a champion for Corps and for the young people enrolled in them across the country, service and conservation corps. They're both traditional AmeriCorps members, as well as young men and women who are getting their lives back in order. It is a time of transition that our young people are engaged in, and we're very, very proud that our corps are engaging young veterans. In addition to recognizing that National Guard CCC partnership, I have the privilege of also asking you to join me in recognizing Habitat for Humanity in their work with wounded warriors in Fort Lewis, Washington, to help build energy-efficient homes for homeless veterans. The Sierra Club is working with Outward Bound to provide free wilderness expeditions for veterans and service members. Veterans Green Jobs has an energy conservation program called HEAT, Home Energy Auditor Training, that teaches home energy surveying and weatherization to military veterans. Veterans Green Jobs in the city of Denver employ homeless veterans to plant and maintain trees as part of Denver's Million Tree Initiative. As we heard from Jason, Veterans Green Corps works with the Southwest Conservation Corps and the Washington Veterans Conservation Corps to engage veterans interested in natural resource management careers. And finally, the Army's Partnership for Youth Success and ServiceNation work to provide interviews to veterans who are interested in employment in the civilian service sector. What amazing work. It's a privilege to be here with you all. God bless you.
Hello, everyone. You got to get into the Army spirit this afternoon. I apologize. I'm Major General Stephen Apt. I'm the Deputy Commanding General of the United States Army Accessions Command, which has the responsibility to provide manpower for the Army, both officer and enlisted. What an event this afternoon. It's marvelous. 40 years ago, almost to the day, I was a college student, fat and happy and enjoying life, and a catastrophic event happened. I got drafted into the United States Army. Up to that moment, I never knew what service was. It was all about me. It didn't take long for the gears to grind, and all of a sudden, service becomes something that started to take hold. Right now, after 40-some years, my wife would say I perhaps overachieved just a little bit. The point being here is that not everyone grows up and is taught or has this innate ability to serve. And sometimes some of us need a catastrophic event or something or someone to reach out and touch us and see the light, if you may. If you get the opportunity, whether it be civilian or in the Army, please find that individual, grab them by the ear, and help train that one more person, whether they are serving our nation or serving the many wonderful agencies that we have talked about today. Some of us need training. You're the ones that can start that ball to roll. The Army is comprised of 100% of volunteers, 1.1 million members strong. Each individual soldier has his or her own reasons to serve. But collectively, we exist to protect and defend the American principles of freedom, democracy, and liberty. Please remember that there is always a price, and sometimes once they return, we have to be there to receive them and truly help them. The Army has an eye on the future as well and is gravely concerned about the 7 in 10 young Americans who do not qualify to serve in the Army, or whether the reasons be for educational shortcomings, medical and fitness issues, or conduct that we cannot accept within our ranks. We are proactively seeking ways in which the Army can make a difference in the educational communities throughout our nation. Since our last meeting a year ago, the U.S. Army Accessions Command, working with Army Cadet Command, the National Association of School Boards and Education, and the Department of Education, has initiated a pilot program to identify and intervene in troubled school districts where high school graduation rates are well below the national average. We hope to work with some of these dropout centers and their feeder middle schools in the years to come by providing curricula and proven tenets of our Junior Reserve Officer Training Program. Training and educating young people in the area of which we have expertise and long experience, we hope to provide our knowledge and mentoring and precepts to those areas of the country that we can benefit the very most. The youth still remains our future, and they still remain the future of service. To the veterans today, may you truly be blessed. Army strong. Thank you.
All right, how y'all feel? Everybody all right? Okay. Before we continue, we got to give it up for the bleacher people back here. Been sitting down this entire time. My gosh. Held those fake smiles this entire time. I'm joking. Must be hard, but you know what? It's well worth the wait of what's coming up next. This is the part of the program that I'm really excited about. Once I heard about it, it's the performance of the Telling Project. Okay? Now, in the Telling Project, we have a program centered on the premise that honesty and open-mindedness are core values that make up a democracy. The Telling Project reminds us that one of the best ways to reach out to our fellow citizens is try to understand each other and simply to listen to each other. And here to introduce the performance is Wes Moore. Wow, that's a snazzy dressed man right here. Wes has devoted years of his life to our country in both the military and in the government. First, he served in the 82nd Airborne in Afghanistan. Then he entered public service, working as a White House fellow and a special assistant to the Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice. Come on out here, Wes. He also has a Rhodes Scholarship